Click Stuff is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at luckydicecafe.com.
Welcome to Clickstuff Sudden Death.
Welcome everyone to this another edition of Clickstuff Sudden Death, a HeroClix podcast where we talk the latest news, tournament reports, and more quick biting HeroClix info to spice up your life. Every boy, every girl, spice up your life. I don't know. I'm your host, Alex Cooze, and joining me today is Sam Powell. Couldn't think of anything funny. Spice Girl, Sporty Spice, Scary Spice. Which Spice Girl would you be?
I'd probably be sporty. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a tomboy growing up, so.
Yeah, I think she was the one that was like wasn't talked about as much. I feel like she was like not the lesser. I don't know. You remember the Spice Girls movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was kind of obsessed with the Spice Girls. I'm not gonna lie, but I was a '90s kid, so like.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
When the movie came out, I was like, "What?" You know, me and my friends watched it, and we were like, "We're so gonna be Spice Girls," and then we were like, "Okay, we're not being the Spice Girls." But yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up being an NSYNC Spice Girl fan, just like any other kid in the '90s. So.
Oh, did you hear recently? This is where maybe I should save this for news and upcoming events. But Backstreet Boys was on some show, and they were talking about how they'd love to do a reunion tour, not a reunion tour, but a tour with NSYNC, and like do a combined tour around. Even though Justin probably wouldn't join, but
that's too much. Like,
yeah.
I don't know about that. I have mixed feelings about the Backstreet Boys and coming back. Like, I think you just need to give it a rest. Like, you had your fun in the '90s. Like, you're like 40-year-old men. Like,
I got an obscure reference before we get into things. Do you remember the fake band called Together? It was MTV's boy bands have been exploding, 98 Degrees,
yeah,
Backstreet Boys, all that. So they did a fake like reality show called Together, and they had songs like "Say It, Don't Spray It," "Calculus," "You Plus Me Equals Us." Look up those songs if you haven't look up Together. It's Together, one word, but with the number 2. Look it up on MTV. It's hilarious. Like, it's just spoofing off of boy bands.
Huh.
So, speaking of boy bands, don't forget that Clickstuff is sponsored by The Rock and Lucky Dice Games. Also,
we went way off subject there. We're a HeroClix podcast, podcast, and we totally went like boy band '90s talk.
Exactly. And everybody, if you want to rock your body, don't forget Clickstuff is also sponsored by Troll and Toad. Shop trollandtoad.com for all of your HeroClix needs. Trollandtoad.com has one of the largest inventories of HeroClix figures and sealed items on the web. They might have some Backstreet Boys CDs on there too. Who knows? They have a ton of stuff. I'm always surprised what I find on there.
They have some good stuff. I'm really appreciative of both Rock and Troll and Toad for sponsoring us. It's been awesome.
Definitely. Let's go ahead and get stuff going for news and upcoming events.
Click 1. News and upcoming events.
Well, Sam, it has happened. We know when and where the 3 biggest HeroClix events are happening. I didn't phrase that sentence very well. Where they're happening in 2020. And it's only February. And we know this info.
I just have to say one thing. Thank you, Chuck. You've done something good. You listened. You listened to us, Chuck.
Yeah, so what we know so far, everyone knew it was the world. I mean, everyone knew Nationals is going to be at Origins, Columbus, Ohio, June 17th through the 21st. Never going to change. I
Yep.
think everybody loves it at Origins. I think WizKids loves it at Origins. It's always a great time. I've been
Mhm.
twice now. Planning to go this time, so I can't wait. For those other national championships that take place out of the U.S., they're still, takes a little time to figure out where they're going to do it in Canada and the UK and all the other different countries that they have them. So just keep an eye out. I'm sure that news will be coming out soon when and where they will be.
Yeah, and usually when those news pops, we're really good about trying to get that shared on the Clickstuff Facebook page as well,
Yeah.
because we have a lot of international people that are fans of our page, and I know look upon us for some news and stuff. So if we get that, we'll definitely share it as much as we can.
Absolutely. Also, biggest news, which we kind of knew was going to happen, the Rock Cup, which is the Rock World Cup, is how they phrased it, will be at Lucky Dice Cafe, and it is August 20th through the 23rd.
No more Rocktober.
No, but we knew that was happening.
Yeah.
Howard was trying to push it back last year, and he got a lot of flack because of how late in the season, I think it was close to Nationals almost, that, hey, we're doing it in July or August, and he did a great job of, switching it back to October, and, we'll fix it for next year. So, hey, it's next year now. It's going to be in August. It's a bad time for me personally because it's my anniversary. My 10-year anniversary, so we'll see how that goes, even though it is the closest tournament for me. So
yeah, we actually had we scheduled our vacation in August, and we had all planned to leave the 22nd of August and go to Gatlinburg like the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 20, all that stuff. And then all this announcement came. We're like, we're gonna have to move vacation up a week, and I think we may be. If we can find somebody to watch Theodore for us at Rock Cup, then both of us will be there. If not, then it'll probably just be one. So, so if you are willing to watch a little over a year old at Rock Cup, just hit me up. I'd love to go and play, but I understand. Alex, just bring your wife. Just bring your wife with
it's
your
our
kids.
anniversary. I don't know if I could bring myself yet.
Hey, no,
it's a 10-year anniversary. We have to go somewhere.
Just get her a really nice hotel in Huntsville, Alabama.
I don't think I could be like, oh yeah, they have this great space center down there, honey. It's a great romantic 10-year anniversary to go to this Huntsville Space Museum. Great. No, probably not happen. I might make it down for like the Saturday because the 21st is a Friday, which is the anniversary. So maybe that Saturday. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I got plenty of time now because they told us early. That's the best part.
Yep, it's definitely nice. Now we can start planning. So.
And then, last but not least, best decision they've made is we're going back to Memphis for the Worlds October 9th through the 11th. So a little bit different, a little bit later, because it was September last year, I believe. And so this year, it'll be in October. I loved it in Memphis. I was going in skeptical because you hear Memphis, is like one of the crime capitals of the world. I don't know. I'm on the other side of Tennessee, so we always think of that as the darker side of Tennessee. So I went and had a great time. It was wonderful. I'm excited to go back again in October. And this really puts an interesting, every other month aspect starting in June, because we have Nats in June. We have Rock Cup in August. 2 months later is the World Cup. And then we probably have WKOs. The summer WKO will probably be either July, most likely, July or September.
Yeah.
And then I assume states. States, I know we have one, I think, coming up in March or April. March, right? I think is what he's been saying. And then I assume states will continue when it was last year in November, I think is when states was. Remember we had the whatchamacallit, Pauper states. So lots of good announcements. I'm excited.
I think it's good spacing too. It's not like you got nationals, then you got some time, then we got Rock Cup, and some time, and then you got Worlds. So it's not going to be like, here's Nats, here's Rock Cup, and then we have like a 5-month span, and then there's Worlds. Like it's going to be a good time spacing. So
right, and what's Oh, go
I
ahead.
think it's good. I think it's really good. I think it's good for the game for this year.
Yeah, and it'll be great because the Rock World Cup will feed into the World Championship, so it is another method of getting entry into the World Championship, which is what was the plan last year, but obviously Rock Cup happened after Worlds, so
Yeah.
didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Besides that, as far as news goes, just don't forget upcoming events. We have a lot of WKOs still going. We're going to talk about what happened this past week, but be sure to check your local venues or your various region HeroClix Facebook groups to find out when the next WKO is going to be up for you, and keep an eye out for states and everything coming in March. Sam, we got a lot to talk about on click number 2, so let's go ahead and just get there now.
Let's go.
Click 2, Tournament Reports and Analysis.
All right, click number 2, Tournament Reports and Analysis. Sam, I've been told you have meticulously studied everyone's build, the top 8 across the nation.
Sure. You got a lot of hope in me.
So
No.
what happened this weekend? Now, well, let's go ahead and get the one out of the way. Dan did win the Lexington. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Yes, Daniel did win Lexington. He played his Uni Lockjaw team. Uni Lockjaw 5.0, 5.2. I'm not sure what he's up to now.
Yeah, he keeps adding different ones. We won't go, and I'm getting that out of the way because we'll save that for the guys, because I'm sure they're going to talk about it soon, about what happened. So congratulations to Dan.
I tell you what, though, like, living in the same house as Daniel, like, I love talking to the Uni Lockjaw team because, like, he's evolved it, but he's also asked me, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that can just die easily. And he's like, okay, I get you. And then he, like, changes it. I'm like, I kind of have a hand in it a little bit. Not much. Probably, like, a fingernail in it, like, as far as, like, helping. But it's been fun. It's been neat to see that evolve. And definitely I've learned how to play it. So
yeah, definitely.
We sit at the dinner table and talk about it. So now I know how to play it.
Yeah, and it was definitely interesting to watch it because they had the stream going, and it was a fun stream to have during the day. I had it off in the background, looking back and forth. And you could sort of hear what was happening fine. And I kind of wish we had more of that regular, like a HeroClix network where we could just have all the videos, like, because that is entertaining to just have in the background to watch people play and be like, oh yeah, this. And it was fun.
You turn your head and you like come back and you're like, how the heck did Ultra Chase Thanos just die? You're like,
where'd that person where'd it go?
But no, I definitely I watched this weekend. I watched the stream, and I'll tell you what, Daniel plays Uni way different than I do, and I know it drives him nuts. It definitely drives him nuts because even when we practice, I'm like, I'll just do this, and he's like, don't do that. I'm like, well, I want to. That's what I want to do. And he's like, don't do that. So I'm just like, well, I'll just play it how I want to play it.
I forget it was a tournament a while ago. You were on stream going against Dave. I think you were playing Uni Lockjaw, I think, at that point.
It was on Genosha.
Yeah, and I remember sitting here watching it, like I was watching you guys, but I could somehow feel Dan in the video. Like, anytime you made a decision and it didn't work out, like, you just the dice weren't with you, I could just in my head feel Dan saying, like, why would you go there? Or I wouldn't have gone that way, or oh man. Like, I just felt it.
Yeah, I literally, I try not to look at Daniel. Like, because there's times where, like, he just kind of, even like when we're playing, like if we're playing next to each other, like, I just don't even I just block him, because if I sense anything, like if he sees like, oh, she moved there, like if I sense that, then I'm just like, oh, I messed up, like, here we go. But I'll tell you one thing, I've learned so much, but I definitely different play style for sure.
So what kind of cool teams, let's name off some winners and what they played.
Man,
there were
a lot of good teams, different variety. So like Caleb Reddick, it was in Texas. He won with, it's a +7 Cosmic, Oz, Traylene, Q Prime, Astronomer, Flora, Groot, Dark Phoenix, and the Start car, and he had ID cards. And I'm just like, that's actually pretty good. Because here you got like Oz is your TK astronomer, who's good.
Right.
Then,
So it's
then
like
you got your dice manipulation.
right. That's what I was about to say. It's like a pseudo dice manip team.
Yeah, so then you have your like protection with the dice manipulation, but also like you can be very offensive. And then for Groot Dark Phoenix, I mean, what's not good about that? I mean, Dark Phoenix is phenomenal. I learned that the hard way because I hadn't played it in forever. playing Jason in a practice game, and I've always been, engraved in my mind is go after you shoot Groot, go out and shoot Groot. Dark Phoenix comes across, and I'm like, oh, what does she do? And I'm like, oh, now I don't shoot Groot, I shoot Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah, definitely. She is a monster. Yeah.
So gross. But yeah, I thought that was awesome. I'm not sure what happened. It said that he lost on he won on last action.
Yeah.
So not sure what all went down there, but that's cool. Cool team.
And I think he talked a little bit about the ancient hold map. Was that the one that he was talking about how he planned it, but he was joking with PJ about planning to play on that map, but not planning on playing on that map.
I believe so. Yeah, there's that whole conversation on Facebook. So, so then also in Huntsville, Aaron Morgan won a sealed event.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, here's the thing: you pull MODOK, you win sealed.
Yeah, funny enough, he won a local Winamax. We do Winamats for our pre-releases.
Yeah.
And he pulled MODOK and he won with MODOK. Yeah. So
MODOK
he had some experience with MODOK.
MODOK's good. So he won with MODOK, Songbird, Sharon. So just MODOK is just good for sealed period. Like just a beast. There was a WKO in Taiwan.
Ooh.
I know. Like that's big. That's awesome. That's like phenomenal for the game. What came out of there was really cool. It's a +5 Cosmic team. The Ultra Cat Marvel, Ultra Chase, Star Fox, Groot, Oz, Dark Phoenix. He had 2 ID cards, the Exospecs, and Venom Harness. So I'm assuming that he put Exospecs on Star Fox.
Yeah, probably.
And the Venom Harness on maybe Cat Marvel. I don't know if he just had it as a secondary.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll never know, but but I thought it was a great team. I mean, you got Ultra Chase Cat Marvel is just a beast. You got Star Fox who's still a threat. Oz is your TK. You got 2 Colossal Retaliations. I mean, but I was looking through their build sheets and they have some good solid teams. I mean, I think they look upon us in the States and see what's working with us, but they have some good little teams going on.
Yeah, definitely. And if I were to wager, looking at the team now, I'm going to wager Venom Harness actually goes on Star Fox because of on the flurry, and to give him pluses because Captain Marvel needs some move and attack, and so that's why you would give typically Captain Marvel Exo so he gets running shot or hypersonic or something along this line, and you could switch them in between depending on matchup. But I mean, Captain Marvel with Venom Harness probably and they may have gone to where they just never equipped it.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he just had it in case of certain matchups. I'm not sure. Yeah. But then we had South Bend. I'm gonna butcher I'm not even gonna pronounce his last name. His first name's Denny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna butcher your name.
Spell out the last name. We'll spell it out.
I don't even have his last name spelled out. But he played Ultra Chase Thanos, Black Adam, Carnage, Time Gem, and 3 ID cards. I think Ultra Chase Thanos is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is something to be alarmed with, especially in this kind of meta. Black Adam's is good.
Real quick, it's Denny, I think Bobeldyk. Bobeldyk.
Okay.
Bobeldyk, something like that.
I'm not gonna even try to pronounce it. So,
Just want to make
But-
sure he got the credit that we
He
aren't
does-
talking about like Denny's, the restaurant chain. We want to make sure we're talking about the right Denny. So.
But he
Congrats
did
to you, Denny.
Yeah, he did win South Bend with it. I know there was a lot of good competition there. So
Oh, yeah.
I know PJ took Vulture there, did really good. He lost in top 4, I believe, to someone who hit 6s on Precision Strike 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that happens.
So that happens. Sad day, but that happens. But I really think the Ultra Chase Thanos with Black Adam is a good combination. They're
Yep.
2 big threats that are hard to take down if you're not playing like Pulse Wave and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So Little Rock, Monster +7 team with Justin Robinson.
Oh, what kind of monster team was it? Are we talking
so-
Tyler Speed's
No,
monster?
this is not Tyler Speed's kind of monster. This is 2 Wendigos, Immortal Hulk, Mojo.
Ooh.
Yeah, Mojo, Groot, Surtur, Carnage. He played the boxing ring and the symbiote. So, overall, just a really good team. I mean, like, and they had ID cards, of course.
Right.
But the only thing that I see with this is like, okay, Iceman kind of wrecks it. I guess depending on like how he played it and how he plays and stuff. So I'm not sure if anybody played Iceman there, or again, we don't know if just Justin just keep everything in the back and like it was hard to get to everything with Iceman. But Immortal Hulk is just, you have to just chew through him, and then you have Mojo who just loops over, and then you have something in your face. He's
Right.
calling out something beastly. So overall, just good team. I definitely see like Tyler playing that for sure. Boxing, I
yeah,
can see boxing ring.
we'll see.
Maybe he moved everything in the boxing ring, so like Iceman had to be -2 to his attack.
Or if
punching.
if he had everyone in the boxing ring, yeah, he couldn't even get in it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
most likely.
So then he had to make it harder for Iceman to hit. So it was solid. I was like, huh. I mean, there's so many different teams coming out. It's like, a while back we just talked like, okay, we have Unity, we have this, we have that, Hawkeye. Like we had 2 or 3 teams. Now it's like, oh, people are playing different things. Kind of
Oh,
nice.
definitely. Yeah.
Steven Grubbs. Don't know what he won at. Was it? I'm so sorry, Steven, if you're listening. I forgot to write down where you won at.
Here, I can look it up. But go ahead and say the teams, and I'll say where he won at.
Ultra Chase Thanos, Isaac, Prez Ricard, Mangog. He had the Iron Man map bonus, 2 ID cards. It was a Minions of Thanos theme team with the
Mhm.
Soul Gem. Just way out of the box. Thought it was phenomenal. Definitely have the leadership from Prez Ricard. Isaac is good. I'm surprised we're not seeing more of him. I think we're going to see more of him after rotation for sure.
Right.
Again, Ultra Chase Thanos is good with a capital G, and then Mangog's still a threat. Mangog is kind of pricey for a Colossal Retaliation.
Yeah.
He's 30 points. So
I don't know. You got Dark Phoenix who's at 30, so.
I understand, but like Dark Phoenixes are harder to snipe in the sense like they could heal up and it's harder. Like
I get
Mangog,
it.
yeah. They're Cyclops.
And by the way, he won at Space Cadets, so he down near Houston, Texas.
Okay. So sorry, Steven. I totally forgot to write down where you won it. So and then Ricky Kirk, he won in I think it's New York? Eastern Coast. He won it sealed. And then he won with Cap Marvel. So super rare Cap Marvel.
Which Captain Marvel?
I think it was a super rare.
Oh, you said sealed. That's my bad. Yes,
Sealed.
that was in Rochester, New York.
Yeah, so New York. I knew he was from that Eastern Coast area. So, he won with Cap Marvel again. We said it last time. She's good. Like
Mhm.
you pull her in sealed, you play her in sealed. So no surprise there. Was not surprised at one. So some teams that I thought were good, that I was kind of looking at the bill sheets. So Tommy played in Lexington, and I watched this on stream a couple times. Ultra Chase Thanos, Lockjaw, Q Prime, Flora with ID cards. I think it's phenomenal. It's kind of hard to kill. Dice manipulation. I know he lost to Tyler, and I was watching on stream, and this is one that I kind of like looked away. I was doing some dishes, and I look back, and I'm like, how did Ultra Chase Thanos die? Like,
right.
What just happened? Now, I mean, like, I can go back and watch it, but I'm curious to talk to Tommy this weekend and see what the heck happened. It's kind of hard to listen to on the yeah.
And Tyler might talk about it a little bit on the show, that matchup. We can mention to him to go into detail about it on the show.
Yeah.
Because I know the guys are going to record here in a little while. So
yeah, and they're going to go through a bunch of like their matches, how they faced them and whatnot. So also Trent Morello in Lexington played a really good team. He made top 4 with it. It was Q. It was both Qs. Go Q Prime, yeah, Q. Eddie Guerrero, Ric Flair, Alex Wilder, Groot, and ID cards. And I know there was a lot of teams that had a hard time with it. It was very straight, like dice manipulation. You had to worry about what you gave Alex Wilder. You had to worry about Eddie Guerrero like coming in and hitting you 3 times in a row. So
it's definitely an interesting type of team. We haven't seen this type of dice manipulation before. I mean, we saw with Mixaplex back in the day, but he was one person. You didn't have two or 3, and then some unique props that tag on to that. And
now we get Deadpool the Duck. He's sort of a dice manipulation. I mean, it's a team that, like, if I sat across, I'd be like, son of a, like, this is gonna be
that's why you pack a lot of Pulse Wave.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, it's just hard. Like, if they roll, like, if you just had one dice manipulation and they roll like a 4, you're like, okay, I could deal with that. But if like they have 3 different dice manipulations and they roll like a 1, a 4, and a 2, like, you're like, okay, now I'm gonna at least miss twice. So then you have to think about, I don't want to call in an ID card because they're gonna make me miss. So
yeah.
Or I mean, depending on range and line of fire and whatnot, you have to put that into consideration. But I think Trailing would go amazing on this team.
He's just pricey when you think about everything else. Like, there's no offense. So
Trailing's a good ID card battery, though. He's a map-wide dice manipulation ID card battery with a stop click.
I guess I'm thinking, looking at Trent's team, you have to sit here and think, okay, Eddies are going to do most of the damage because there's not much in the way of damage outside of Collins or causing them to just miss. Like, there's just not a ton.
Yeah.
So trying to fit Trey Lane on there, I mean, I would probably go Eddie over that because you got the cool three attack flurries or whatever he does.
What's Ric Flair doing for him, though?
Ric Flair, Spice? No, he's got a... does it say that? Is it starter Ric Flair or is it the...
I don't know. I just knew from...
Because starter Ric Flair has prob. And then the...
It's a prob, yeah.
The other Ric Flair also has prob. So both of them have prob. So it could be just to have an additional one and then have someone who... Because remember, they can't be attacked unless he's at his lower point dial, which he could be. So
I don't know. But I thought overall it's just an interesting team. So again, some really good teams that came out of this weekend and also the weekend before.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's really nothing that's like, even for me trying to prep for this WKO, I'm like, I don't even know how to prep because I'm just like, I could be sitting across from who knows what and be like, okay, I'm just gonna have to adapt, learn quickly and adapt.
I would say, so I do a thing and I never ever actually publish it. So I have the thing called the Gauntlet. I talk about it all the time and basic in our group chats, at least. And it's basically, if you're building a team, you have to be able to go through the gauntlet.
Mhm.
And so what are the 5 top teams currently in the meta that your team doesn't necessarily have to be able to wallop and destroy, but has to be able to handle pretty well?
Yep.
And I would say right now in the meta, you're looking at Vulture, obviously. I mean, PJ didn't win it all, but he had bad luck. I mean,
Yeah.
someone rolling a 6 3 or 4 times is insane. And he's mentioned multiple times it's even better than he thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Vulture is scary.
In the
Like-
right hands, it could be very scary. It's not a
In the-
good just plug and play net deck, because you have to be able to handle
Mhm.
someone who could stop him from just coming across and attacking, and a good player has that strategy built in.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
He's
so-
he's very, very good. Like very underrated. Like super scared to play against it.
yeah, and so you have to have a counter for Vulture, which would
Mhm.
be some sort of barrier, choosing the right map.
Don't die.
If you somehow win map against his 8, I mean, that's great. You could put him on Ancient Hold, which will be harder for him to pick up his objects because he doesn't have the TK capabilities. He can't just shoot it. He has to waste time a little bit. We'll talk about Ancient Hold here in a little bit. Or you could go the don't die route, and basically something that could just tank a hit and
Mhm.
take his flurries and be like, who cares? I'm
Yeah.
down a little bit, but it's no big deal. So you
Yeah.
got to keep that in mind for Vulture. The second one, which I don't think anybody won, but there was a lot of it and it did well, is Hellfire Club. I mean, that is a
Mhm.
big, and it could be just because it's popular. it's the new craze right now. But the Jason Weingard or Weingard, whatever, it's a popular team to play. 2 of him with a Gene, with Magneto,
Phoenix.
2 Dark Phoenixes, whatever. It's a dangerous team. Now, it could be countered fairly simple, but if you don't have this simple counter, you could lose. I mean, Ultra Chase Thanos lost to it. A lot of teams will lose to it because it's just so many hits.
Yeah.
The biggest counter to it is if you have a reliable stealth.
Mhm.
And I believe that was one of our questions today out of our couple of questions we got.
How do you beat Jason Weingard? And I was
Yeah,
gonna say
Lamar McConnell or McConnell or Lemaire said, "What is the best way to deal with Jason Wingard?" And I would say, for me, stealth is going to be your main answer because they don't have a way. Jean, he's going to TK Jean or mind control Jean, and she's going to blast you. Well, if she can't see you, okay, then you're out of luck. He also needs line of fire as well. So until they start equipping him with diamonic rings or another alternative, stealth is going to be your best option.
Yeah, I think also too, like if people are thinking, okay, like if I do the stealth and Jean can't shoot me and stuff like that, how do I deal with? Because he produces those pogs and he can mastermind those pogs.
Right.
Energy explosion.
Yeah.
Okay, like he's gonna put those pogs next to him. So if he takes a hit, he's like, okay, I'll just take a pog away. No big deal. I'm still full health. You just wasted an action. But if you have something with EE, you go shoot that, get the pogs out of the way, and say, okay, now let's play. So.
Yeah, and I honestly don't know how the team survives the Vulture. Just having it go through Gauntlet. I mean, unless it has a reliable barrier or something, I just don't see how it just doesn't die.
Unless they play Professor X ID card and call it out and hope to God they hit shape change.
Yeah. I mean, another thing, either that or call out Colossus for impervious.
Yeah.
Those are your two main options.
So we have Vulture, we have the Weingards.
Yeah, Hellfire.
Hellfire. I still think Uni Lockjaw is up there.
I see. That's the thing. I'm leaving Uni Lockjaw completely off of this.
Really?
And that's my argument with that is Uni Lockjaw is still very strong, but it has become a significant finesse piece because there's just so much damage in so many different ways going around. I mean, even with him having shape change and super senses, I mean, there's things to get around that.
Yeah.
And so in the right hands, like Dan, it's a great team. But I think the team is such a high team, mostly because Dan knows how to play it unbelievably well, better than anybody essentially. And
Okay.
so I
get
don't
that.
you don't see it. Not to say Uni isn't a great figure, he is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking in this current meta, just period. It's, I mean, even though it's pseudo tentpole, tentpoles just don't have the pizzazz that they used to have right now.
Okay, I get you.
So I
still
don't. I think
it's still one of my teams that I think about when I build a team, just
right.
because I have to practice against it. So like, I mean,
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
it's one of those like, okay, I come up with this like really cool team, and I'm like, how does Daniel beat me in turn 2? Okay, well that dies, so I can't play that team.
Yeah, that's if you want to know a little behind the scenes, the pains of being a Clicksoft member. You have to know how to prepare for Wales and how to prepare for Unimind, even
Yes.
if no one else ever plays those teams. You have to know how to prepare for them because you practice against them. So it just happens. I definitely think dice manipulation is probably
Yes.
my third team. Whether it's like a little bit of dice manipulation or a lot, like Trent's team, absolutely. You have to know how can you handle when your dice are going to be against you, like
Yeah.
100% against you. That's why you play something like Ultron, where if you change me to a 3 roll, I still hit a 17, so it's probably fine. So
That's very true.
yeah.
That's stupidly scary, but
how I think you handle dice manipulation, pulse wave is one of the things I said. One thing that hasn't made a huge comeback, and I think it should, the tank, because a lot of people still bunch up for some reason, bunch up their queues, because obviously it's not a global effect, it's a within an area effect, so they try to keep them together, and you can just tank an Eddie and get rid of the rest of the queues. So tank, I think, is still, it's legal, it's still good for the next 4 months.
yeah.
So don't forget the tank, because most likely if you're killing queues, you'll make up that 50 points you lose by dropping the tank real easy.
By the way, I realized in practice session how good the Magneto ID card is. Calling in
Yeah, not Colossal, the 2x2 Magneto.
the 2x2 Magneto.
Like, he's dumb. He's amazing.
Just even calling him out for Colossal Retaliation, I was like, what the, like, a ranged Colossal Retaliation? I mean, like, again, I haven't played in a while, so like me prepping for this WKO, I was like, I'm learning so much stuff. I'm like, wow, I didn't play with the X-Men set much because I had a kid, but I'm like, whoa, he can do that? Like, insane. Like, he can call him out. He's a TKer. He can call out as a Colossal Retail. Like, insane.
And he's honestly not that bad if you need another pulse wave to play him at 100 points.
Yeah.
So if you're going against a team that you know you're going to need more than one pulse wave, so you automatically have your storms. Magneto at 100 points at Colossal, it's a little hard to kind of finagle it because he's got an 8 range. So you have to perplex that down, have him sidestep, then have him move himself with his placement, move one square thing. But he can pulse wave. He's got range combat expert, 8 range, so he can bump himself up to a 12 for 3 or 11 for 4.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
gross.
He's good at 100 points also.
Yeah, I think that's something that, like, I'm definitely keeping in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Like, to watch out for.
And he'll be around for a while, because I am under the impression posters aren't going to go away, so he'll be around.
Yep. Hence why we bought another Asgardian Storm.
So that's 3 teams so far. We had Vulture, we had Vulture, Hellfire Club, and Dice Manipulation. Mystical's making a big stink right now. I mean, you have Black Adam's real dangerous. Even the non-Black Adam teams, because did Jalen's team have Black Adam on them?
No, Jalen.
He had Mystical though.
He had Strange, Mandarin, Alex
Mandarin.
Barber,
That's what it was. Yeah,
and like Tri-Sentinel and Wendigos.
Yeah.
I had something else.
Your generic mystical team you have to prepare for. The problem is it's hard to prepare for that team because there's so many different iterations of it,
and it's kind of based on how the person plays it too.
Right.
You know?
Like there's nothing that it's kind of Mystical doesn't have that like catch that gotcha that Hellfire has, that Vulture has. It's just
Yeah.
generally good. Like it generally
Like,
has good
yeah.
stats, good abilities. It isn't a haha. This makes it where you can't do this. Outside of Strange, obviously with the IDs, it doesn't have that.
Yeah, I feel
So-
like with the Vulture, it's like, okay, if I sit across from a Vulture team, I know turn 2 what they're doing.
Right.
Okay, so I know what their play is. If I sit across from a Mystical team, you're kind of playing the player. You know,
Right.
you're like, what are they gonna do? I mean, they could stay back, they could move up, they could do this, they could do that, and everybody's gonna do it different. So it's like you can't really prep. You just have to prep like, okay, if they move Black Adam up and I can get a single target pulse wave, I'm going to single target pulse wave. But if they bunch up to where I can't get a single target pulse wave, how do I finagle? Like, do I just leave Black Adam alone? Do I try to do this?
Right.
Do I mean, they played TJ Wheeler played Black Adam with Daredevil.
Yep.
I mean, that's good. Like,
Yep.
with Strange. So
It's
like
Mystical.
here you got this. You're not gonna be able to call out ID cards as easily. You don't really want to be taking Mystics. He had Tri-Sentinel, so you don't want to trigger anything like that because then you have Tri-Sentinel in your face, which
Yeah.
is a bad decision to do. So that's the kind of, I think that has been the hardest team for me to mentally prep for this weekend, is because there's not like a click and play like, okay, turn 1 they're gonna equip, turn 2 they're gonna come over and attack. I have to be like, okay, turn 2 can go 15 different ways.
Yeah.
And I have to adjust to see what map they put me on, and because most of them are +6, +7.
Yeah.
So I still have a chance to win map sometimes, but who knows?
Yeah, and I would say, and I know this is really kind of lame of me making this gauntlet and lumping in so many teams into one slot, but I think you just have to prepare for Mystical and Cosmic in general. There's nothing amazing that they do. You have the Kobik and Trader combo, but you didn't see that a lot, and I think a lot of that is just general Kobik fatigue because we've just seen so much of her, and people are just tired of playing her, and we got all these cool cat figures, so people want to play that. But she's gonna make a comeback because she's still really good.
I still think Kobik Unseen Dark Phoenix team is tough.
Yeah. So you've just got to prepare for Mystical and Cosmic in general. They don't do anything that's obscene. I mean, you could call Kobik Trader Mumbo Jumbo obscene, but at this point, it's kind of everybody knows it. So
Yeah.
it's not crazy to see a Gardener and a Trader and all of that, but you have to prepare for it because it is an easy to pick up team and it is an inexpensive team.
Yeah, Kobik's went down a lot, so
yeah. We'll talk about her maybe a little bit in a so hold. My fifth and last team outside of Mystical and Cosmic. Oh man, that's a tough one. I would say Don't Die. Don't Die teams obviously are always around. Immortal Hulk is making a big splash, I think. You mentioned him in one of I forgot who it was.
Justin Robinson played him.
I know that Lucas Van Hollen won a win a map with him not too long ago. He is people were scared off because he's got that dumb activation Bruce Banner click, but he's still very dangerous.
Yeah.
And you could do a lot of things. Living Legends are nuts too. They're hard to kill.
They are very hard to kill.
So you've got that. You've got the robot team, which I'm kind of manning and trying to do. And I know Austin Lytle tried to made top 4 within
top 8. I think he made top 8.
I think he made it to top 4.
Top 4?
I thought he made it to top 4 and lost to Dan.
Maybe
going into finals.
Maybe so. Okay.
But you got to look out for Don't Die. Robots, the Ultron with the 2 Danger Room, Magneto, and Sinister is one incredibly fun. I enjoy playing that. But you have to prepare for that. You got to prepare for a team that you're not going to score a lot of points on. So if you are a heavy relying on IDs, that might not work for you if you're giving up points. Because if you give up 15 points, I mean, that might be, I mean, that you may not get 15 points back.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to keep that in mind. Don't Die is here to stay because of Hulk, because of Steve Rogers adding Sinister, Magneto, Sabretooth. All of those could go on any Avenger or Shield team.
Yeah.
They're really good. You give Magneto the Liar Ring, you give Magneto Exospecs. He can do some damage even though he's limited to damage. He's a mess. And Sinister is probably, I would say right now, one of the most underlooked, what's the word I'm looking for? Underdog.
Underrated.
Yeah, underrated figure is Danger Room Sinister. He just does so much for 45 points that it's insane. So
Yeah.
that would be my current 5. I change it constantly, but when I'm building a team, I am looking to see, can my team handle Vulture, Hellfire Club, Dice Manipulation, Mystical Cosmic, and Don't Die. If I can reasonably handle all of that, or I've got IDs to help me in all of those situations, then I feel confident going into a WKO or to Nationals that I'll be good. Now, if you're going to just a local win a map, don't worry about the gauntlet. You'll most likely be fine. You just have to make sure you have a mental plan.
Yep.
So that's my takeaway.
Yeah, I think we can add an addendum on my part. I still think monster is something to worry about. Now,
yeah, I like that. There are 6 Infinity Gems, right? So you could say the 6th one.
I don't think. I mean, I think Vulture eats monster alive, sort of.
Yeah.
In the right hands. You have Iceman out there, but if a good monster player is finesse enough, it's still scary. Because you have Mojo, Surtur, Groot, Wendigos that are they're all big threats. So it's not like you can just be like, okay, well, I could take a hit from a Groot, no problem. Well, no, you really can't take a hit from a Surtur. Or here's Wendigos coming at your face, and I still think monsters is always in the back of my head. Obviously, because we have Tyler always pushing monsters on us, but it's still always in the back of my mind. Like, how do I beat the monster team? Because I still think that's going to be relevant for some periods.
And what's interesting is that it's interesting that there's just an obvious. There's such an obvious hard counter. It's just whether you actually... The problem is he's a hard counter to it and to nothing else. Obviously, everyone is well, Blade can just obliterate Mystical and Monster teams. If built correctly, he could obliterate it. But can he do things with other teams? And I think once somebody figures out that right Avengers... combo, it may not be Avengers or some other thing with Blade because he's got a lot of good keywords. I mean, that is a hard counter to Monsters and Mystical is Blade. As long as you keep him alive, he can definitely he can eat through a whale if perplexed enough because he goes through stop clicks. So as long as the stop click is in the defense spots, so
I believe it is. So
just it's one of those it's a hard counter.
It's definitely something I want to play around with for winning maps, but like you said, it's going to take that right person to finesse it and whatnot. And who knows? I mean, we still have more WKOs, and we definitely have states coming up. And so I know people are going to try new things. We got Nats coming up, so maybe they're going to try to start finessing their teams for Nats. So
now, do we know, and you would think I would know this because I run Rock Online, are these states constructed or are they sealed?
Constructed.
Okay, so that means most likely the next November or whenever we have next states will be sealed because I know he wanted to do both. And we had Copper.
Now, I say that 75% confident that I believe they're constructed.
Well, I think the states in November were meant to be sealed, wasn't it? Wasn't it meant to be sealed and then because there was the big hubbub about that. It was meant to be sealed but X-Men like flew off the shelves, and there just wasn't enough to reliably say, "Hey, you have to do sealed."
Yeah.
So okay, that makes sense. So this, the spring one should be constructed, and it also builds into nationals and more WKO. So yeah. So this should be constructed coming out with states. So
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I got for interesting teams. I thought just overall, like, people are coming up with some good stuff. And
yep,
I mean,
definitely.
Hugh Prime is something to be worried about, and
He's still crazy expensive.
he's still like $250. Like,
Yep.
insane. If I had an extra, I'd sell it.
So before we move on to hold, there are two things I want to talk about first. One, let's talk about one of our questions. The only real other question besides Matt Donald's question, which was, when am I going to get a chance to break our tied record, Sam, 1-1?
Well, let's just meet top 4 at Nats, okay, and we'll do it there.
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
Or you could do top 4 at a Newmark's event. That'd be good too.
Newmark's event.
Yeah. His event was fun last year.
Oh, Origins. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's before Nats up in Columbus.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for any time, Matt. I mean, I'll whoop your butt anytime you want me to.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. You know, me and Matt have a good rivalry going on. We're good. We're good. So,
backpedaling a little bit.
No, he definitely was one of those that played Goblin King. So he knows what he is in my eyes. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So I beat him on stream at Nats my first year I played, and he kind of held that to heart. And then at Rock Cup, he won with, of course, Goblin King, because it's Goblin King and
right.
Whatever. Not gonna put salt in that wound, but no, but he holds that over me, and I'm like, dude, I beat you on stream, so. But
yeah, I love Matt Donovan. Great.
Yeah, he's a good player.
I always enjoy playing against him, and I remember back to the days when he was, when we were kind of just playing around. He was trying to build the team with who's the guy from ADW? It was Batrock. He was playing a bunch of Batrocks.
Oh yeah, Batrock. He was the Batrock player.
That was before he started playing Lord Order, Master Chaos.
Yeah.
So good time.
Yeah, good guy. Again, Matt, I'll play you in Nats anytime, so I'll be there.
All right. Our Huntsville sealed WKO winner Aaron Morgan wants us to know what he's debating for an upcoming Wham, a speedster team. It has the new Quicksilver. It has 2 of the 50-point WKO flashes and 4 jolts. And then he's got an influence ring. He's got a remaker ring and a bunch of IDs. So
I'm assuming that he's going to put the influence ring on Quicksilver. So then he could hypersonic across.
Well, influence is the
Force Blast, right?
Yeah, so he might do it at I don't know if he'd put it on Quicksilver or one of the jolts, because he wants to Force Blast one of the let me pull that up real quick. He wants to do it towards the flashes, because that flash is the one that has the stop click. It's one of those tricks that you're just not.
Oh, okay. Now I see. I pulled up the flash. So he's wanting to Force Blast. He's wanting to Force Blast one of the. It's like the old Mixie trick, like Frogman trick or whatever.
Yep.
Like you damage your piece. Then he's got 12 hypersonic, still energy.
Yeah.
And
so
then when he hits, he can choose the standard power a hit target can use. The Flash can use that power until he chooses again.
So the catch is the wording of his stop click. So stop click says stop super senses. When this click is first revealed after resolution, place the Flash into any square that is at least 7 squares from his current square. So that means you can Force Blast him in your starting area. Their starting area is technically at least 7 squares away from him. So if you Force Blast Flash into a wall, he can instantly just go over to the enemy starting area, like a Mojo, but faster. and you just pop him over and be like,
7
hello.
squares from his current square.
At least 7 squares from his current squares. He can play after resolutions. Place the flash into any square that is at least 7 squares from where he currently is. So that could be 20 something squares away. You just whoop, put him way over there.
Wow.
It's neat. We've talked about it locally a little
Yeah.
bit. So it's one that, you have to make sure you don't have first turn immunity, obviously. I haven't seen a lot of Quicksilver's new. I haven't actually really looked at him. He looked okay.
I feel like someone at WizKids was like typing up this card and they're like, at least 7 squares. And then like, it just got, it got past Chuck. It got past all of them. And then now it's like, oh crap. Who wrote that card?
So let's see. It says hypersonic for Quicksilver. Hypersonic Quicksilver's attacks do a maximum of 3 damage. When Quicksilver uses hypersonic speed, it makes a close attack. After the action's resolved, before moving again, he may make a close attack targeting a character he hasn't attacked this action. All right, so that's pretty cool. And then he gets a perplex down the dial a little bit. And then the jolts are jolts. They can technically go to the enemy starting area first turn. If I think I did the math, I don't remember what it was. It's like 0.001% chance of that happening, that you roll enough I think it's 5 or 6 for you to get sidestep again. I was joking around with him earlier that this would be Sam, you would actually hate this because you could easily slow play this team by saying, all right, got 3 jolts, I'm gonna sidestep, let's see if I sidestep again. I get to sidestep again.
Hold on, let me pick where I'm gonna sidestep.
All right, let me see if I sidestep again.
Oh my gosh.
So I think this is an absolutely fun team to play. I think, Aaron, if you were going to play this at a winter map, hopefully not one of ours because I don't want to see it.
Do it, Aaron. Take it to Alex.
That flash thing is going to completely shock people unless they listen to this podcast and hear us explain it.
I just didn't know what he was going to put the influence ring on, but I can see it now that if he puts it on like a jolt or the other flash to like do the trick, I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, you'd put Remaker on one of the, maybe Remaker just on Quicksilver, because you're expecting the Flash is most likely to die. You're just going to bamf from over there, and then you have a bunch of call-ins. I mean, you only have 3 call-ins, but you can also then hypersonic kill something because that Flash has decent stats for that.
And Quicksilver's there to like hypersonic in, hit something again, and if he's got shape change super senses, 19 defense. I mean, that's pretty dang good. So
yeah, my only issue with Speedster is just, man, Speedster used to be my favorite keyword. I used to love running Zoom, Black Lantern Zoom, those kind of characters. I know Aaron used to run KC Flash all the time.
Yeah.
Great figures to play, but Colossal Retails just ruined that. Because I could come up and punch you, and I run away, and I get to escape. Like, that was the whole thing of Speedsters. It's like, that's what I do. But now I have this giant guy for some reason who was across the field. Maybe, I guess, saw you punch my character and just runs over and punches me. Like, it sucks. One day, maybe Speedsters will rise up again, but it is not this day.
Yeah.
The last quick thing I want to talk about before we move on to our buy, sell, hold. So one thing you want to keep in mind for all you going out to hack the ancient hold map and prepare for the ancient hold map. Because as of right now, it's legal, still legal. I personally am in the wheelhouse of it's going to be banned sometime soon because it is just an incredibly oppressive map.
Yeah, it's super oppressive.
Like, it's worse than King's Hold, King's Tomb. Thank you. I
don't know what. I don't know what Howard and them are thinking. Like, do they look at these maps before they print them? Do they have someone that looks over them?
Because from my understanding, the people who do the rock map is the same people who do the WizKids maps, like the designer, I think.
I mean, I understand, but like, it's not good for the community if, and I may be in the minority on this, and I'm just gonna say it out loud, but like, you can't sell a map. You can't be like, here's this cool map and sell it. And then like it's so oppressive that you ban it. Because then you have players that have forked up good money for this map. Like hard-earned money. And the stuff isn't cheap. So you can't go out there making a map, have it on sale for a couple weeks, and then ban it.
Yeah,
Like I know it's been on playable for many, many months now. So like, but it's coming out to the world, and it's like you said, I feel like it's super close to being banned.
right.
And
It's the states map from November, I believe.
It's just like it's disheartening because as a community we want to try to build it, but we're trying to but we're releasing stuff that's like, oh hey, give me your money, and then we're gonna ban it because it's so oppressive.
Yeah, now keep in mind it's the states map, so you can't buy this when you have to buy a third party.
I understand, but
I completely get what you're saying.
Like, it's I don't know. I like I said, I might be in the minority, and I'm sorry.
Now, also keep in mind, I have no insider knowledge that this is going to get banned. It's just when I saw so many people talking about using it this past weekend and how they were basically able to just shut out teams because the most oppressive map feature is doors. It is by far the most oppressive thing. You could say blocking terrain, fine, sure. But doors, I can go through a door and come back through my own door. But if I stand at a door, unless you ignore characters or you blow up the door or phasing or whatever, you can't go through the door. You can't punch me through it. Whereas just walls and general blocking, we both have to deal with that. But doors, I have to deal with that. And for example, I mean, the Ancient Home map has doors in the starting area, essentially. Like the border of the starting area, there are three sets of doors. So if your team relies heavily on TKing objects or TKing someone up to get an object, you can't do that. Like, you just can't. So someone plays this map and instantly you are on the defensive because you don't know how you're equipping your objects now. So definitely keep Ancient Hold in mind. They very well could leave it be and be happy with it. But I think it's just as impressive as what was that map that they came out with and they banned immediately? WizKids did the one with the the building, and they were worried people were going to go onto the building that only flyers could go to. What it came out with Rebirth, maybe.
I remember that one that had like the Voop areas. Like if you rolled a dice, you could Voop to that area.
Titan Tower. It's Titan Tower because it was the one that had the high elevation, and you could get up there if you get into the squares and take a power action to go up to that mountain, to the top of the building. But the only way up there is to do that. So they banned it because they didn't want people playing a bunch of flyers and just covering up those squares or whatever. This was before you couldn't play special terrain on orange squares. So,
and then basically just hiding up there and saying, okay.
Yeah, and you could just shoot around. Pew, pew, pew. So,
people.
So for all of you going out this weekend and going out next week, whenever this month, and going into states even, Ancient Hold is still currently legal. It is very oppressive. You got to plan for it. If you're a close range team, playing a Hulk team or something like that, your Ancient Hold's probably one of your number one maps. If you're playing a map that has hypersonic people and you have a bunch of colossals and you just want to stand the colossals in the doorways and be like, ha ha ha, you can't shoot me and you can't punch me through the door. I mean, you play Ancient Hold. So that's my PSA for the boo boo doo boo. The more you know.
We had a last minute question. That I think that we should probably talk about.
Okay.
We kind of talked about it a little bit, but it says Jeremy Christie said strategies to deal with a themed vulture. I know that we touched base on the vulture.
Right. So we had mentioned a little bit about blocking, so doing some sort of barrier if you have a small enough team to do that.
Yeah, and I think if you're talking themed vulture, you're probably thinking shield vulture.
Right.
Avengers vulture is good, but then you have all the giant girls. You're kind of out there for some liability of, I don't know, losing more points or whatever.
Being counter vultured.
Yes, that's true. But Shield Vulture is probably the number one theme that's going on with the Vulture, and
Mhm.
it's gross. Like you said, barrier, rollouts. If you don't have shape change, you play Professor X ID card, play Colossus ID card, possibly. Um,
One key thing to keep in mind is you want to have a method to steal
yes.
the Doc Arms. Do not try to KO him, because that's the whole point of Coulson. He'll just destroy them and take them over. And this is saying that you won map, which is unlikely because they're like a +7 or 8. But
Hey,
if you
there's
do
a
win
chance.
map, yeah,
There's
there's a
always
chance.
There's always a chance.
You want to have Phoenix. You want to have someone who could take the Doc Arms and just TK him back to your area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not foolproof, but it is something. If you win map, you might want to put him on Ancient Hold, maybe, because he can't just TK the objects to him. He can't just shoot them, and
Yeah.
then they're equipped to him because he has a door in the way.
If I
Unless he
win map
just
against
sidesteps
Vulture,
up and do that.
if I win map against Vulture, I'm taking them wide open so I could take those Arc Arms. Because once you take those Arc Arms, they lose a lot of their oomph.
Yeah.
I want to say. I mean, he can still charge, hit, but he doesn't have the flurry. So, like, he's going to have to perplex. So he's going to have to think about perplexing up his damage all the way. Then he's got to worry about movement if he's going to perplex for that. It takes a little bit out of their sales. Again,
Yeah.
I think calling in Professor X ID card, calling in Colossus ID card for protection, for rollouts, barrier, and also don't die. Play something that could take a hit, because yeah, you may lose some pieces, but if you still have one or two pieces that are living, Vulture's gonna die.
Yeah.
And then they've lost their main hitter. But again, to a good player and good hands, they could still use Cap and Coulson and all them to come over and wipe out the rest of your team. But you're kind of like, okay, I survived the Vulture, I could kill Vulture, and now they've got to come to you a little bit. So
Yeah, and
you can kind of regroup.
And you got to keep in mind, even if you're not building Don't Die, you need to be more mindful of how you're building theme. If you're building theme by just throwing a bunch of giant girls on there, that's probably bad. In the sense of Vulture's just going to eat them and then go. If you still build it that way, that's fine. Just maybe first turn, spread him out a bit so that way he has to work a little bit, because you don't want him to be able to. He benefits most out of being able to use one charge and flurrying 2 people and killing the 2 people, and then he now has 2 more charges and he builds them. So if you can somehow space your team out to where he's only getting maybe 1 charge, then you might have a better chance of living during all of it. Tyler would want me to say that dice manipulation also gives an opportunity against Vulture. He said that the numbers work out in your favor, that he only has like a 40% chance of hitting like Trent's team. Just it depends on what you roll, and there's
it'd be my luck. I would play the dice manipulation and I roll like 5, 6, 6.
But that's good because you can use those 6s for your super sense rolls for Q.
Or normally like a 4.
Yeah,
4,
the
5,
4s are the bad. Yeah,
4, 5, 5 or something like that. Where I'm just like, well, crap, you're pretty much gonna hit if I even move the dice, and then I'm not gonna hit super senses because they're given precision off of. Is it Coulson? Yeah.
Yeah, Coulson will give him precision strike.
So
or Quake, most likely precision strike.
I mean, Jeremy, I think like you just kind of you build your team and you practice against Vulture. You're gonna know within the first 2 to 3 turns if you're gonna survive.
Yep.
So, and then if say Vulture comes over and wipes your team, you reset and you think, okay, how can I better my team to survive turn 2? And it's just gonna take some tweaking. So it's possible. It is very possible to survive the Vulture.
So also keep in mind that the tank is a thing. So don't forget, Vulture tank works. So don't bunch up all your dice manipulation. Don't bunch up
Yeah.
all of your giant girls. He could come over there with tank, only needing like a 3, drop tank, kill 3 giant girls, and he gains all of those charges.
Yeah.
That has been confirmed. So just keep that in mind.
Put that in your back pocket.
All right, I think they're caught up on the meta. What about the people that want to get out of it? So let's talk about buy, sell, hold.
Click 3. Buy, sell, hold.
All right, welcome to Buy, Sell, Hold, where we talk about what hero clicks we think you need to be trying to gobble up, all the hero clicks you need to be sell, 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 and all the ones who are like, whoa, hold on. I don't know. I guess that's the thing. So, Sam, what are you buying right now? What are you trying to get your hands on?
Well, I was trying to get my hands on an Asgardian Storm, but we just had to go buy one. So
Hey, buying, this is the buy section. So
yeah.
we're not talking about just trading. We're talking about now's the best time to go out and just buy.
I went out and bought an Asgardian Storm because I think that is a phenomenal piece. Pulse Wave knockback is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And kills Kobik, kills Black Adams. I think that's awesome. So yeah, we went out and bought that. I also think you are buying Dark Phoenixes. You're buying, a mags if you don't have mags.
He's still pretty cheap. He's gotten down to like $15 to $20.
Yeah,
still.
but I mean, if you don't have like Dark Phoenix or one or two of those, you definitely would need one or two of those because those are just phenomenal pieces that I see being even better after rotation.
Yeah.
So, and you're just buying, like, if you need the Hellfire Club, if you I know we talked about that. So, if you have a team in mind, like we've talked about all these teams, and you're like, man, I don't have a Trailene, then you go out and buy a Trailene.
Right.
Unless you won the lottery or you're David Newmark, buying a Q Prime is almost impossible.
Right.
Just because he is so high in price right now, but he's phenomenal. Like he's so good in the meta right now. So,
yeah,
that's what I'm buying. So
the buy section also, kind of like what Sam alluded to, isn't just buying because it's cheap. It's also buying out of necessity and buying out of availability. So we're hitting that part with Dark Phoenix. It's been out for about 5 months now, the set, that scarcity is going to become a thing, that boosters are being bought. I know locally we still have a couple cases at different stores, but they're not, you're hitting the point kind of like with Mighty Thor, where they're not as readily available, and the sets, the meta pieces have already been set out of the set for the most part.
Yeah. And people are buying the Captain America set right. Like they're not. I'm not going to waste $15 on a booster of X-Men when I have all this Colossals in my closet when Cap's out.
Yeah, and it's hard to pick out. I mean, X-Men was a set that you have no idea whether the booster you picked up. I mean, sure, all the boosters are blind, but let's be real here. We all pick up the boosters and give them a little shake, a little smell, a little lick to see if they're the ones that are have the right ones in them. And X-Men was one of the ones that you couldn't do that because the heavy ones are usually the crappy ones, like Krakoa was a real heavy piece. And so you would end up with that piece, a super rare, and you knew you probably weren't going to chase in it. So it's one of those bricks that it's just hard to figure that out. At the same time, though, that means if you want to play Hellfire Club, now's the time to try to buy it because it's going to be actually probably 2 to 3 weeks was the time to buy it. Because it's growing in popularity. It'll continue to grow in popularity because it is a dangerous team. We've gotten such great pogs for Jason to make that, all these popping out 2 Chewies is great with 2 Jasons.
Yeah.
So definitely your Dark Phoenix set is something you want to buy. I would say there's not really that much else I'd be wanting to buy right now. Right now, Cap is kind of settling down. So I think
you're buying like Ultron and um.
See, I'm about to talk about that in Cell. So
Oh, okay.
why
I
don't
mean,
you what do you think about selling wise?
well, I think selling wise, I think if you have anything extra that we want to buy, like if you have like, if say you're getting out of the game, like you're
Mhm.
like, I'm not gonna play meta. I just want to play fun. I'm sitting on a Q Prime. You sell that Q Prime right now. Like it's so high in demand, and people will spend the money, which
Yep.
I think is crazy. But, um, you know, you take the chance of like you're never gonna play it again because it's not gonna be yours. But, um, yeah, if I had an extra Q Prime, I'd sell that. Um, if I had extra Ultrons and Jean Greys, the X-Men Jean Grey, not the XXS,
The
but
chase.
the Chase. Um, you know, you're selling that stuff because people are looking for that stuff to play the Hellfire Club. They're looking for the Wine Guards. They're looking for the Jeans, the Dark Phoenixes. Um, I mean,
Yeah, I think
that's what I'm selling.
the time has already passed to really be selling most of the cap set. In the sense that super rares are already starting to bottom down. I've seen Mandarin at like $10.
Yeah.
Hulk, I think, is still holding value, even though it'll drop at some point. So he's like a buy. He's kind of more of a hold for me, I guess, because he's still going for like 30 to 40 right now. But he's a unique, so you can only play one. So I don't
Yeah.
know if this has to do with distribution. I mean, he's an amazing piece, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Captain Marvel's still holding value because everybody wants two, because she'll be great after rotation. She's great now, but she'll even be better after rotation.
Yeah.
The other super rares, let's see, what were the other ones that Mandarin is probably the lowest right now. So if you wanted to start buying Mandarin, it's not going to get lower than $10 to $15. Blade is pretty low right now. He might see a rise if we see a bunch of mystical monster and someone makes that one team to fit a 50-point Blade on. And also, Blade is amazing in Golden Age because he could be called in. So
Mm-hmm.
if you play a lot of Golden Age, maybe you want to get a Blade and get a Ronin ID. If you didn't know that, if you look at the Ronin, is it Ronin? Yeah, it's the Ronin ID, I believe. Yeah, the Ronin ID has Clint Barton, Maya Lopez, Eric Brooks, which is Blade, listed as the real name. So for Golden Age, Blade could be called in because he is Eric Brooks. Little known fact for Golden Age, which is a thing still for a lot of people, especially locally. Besides that, I mean, most of your other super rares are going to be super cheap. Baron Zemo's $10. If you're playing Golden Age, absolutely get a Baron Zemo. He is amazing for local play. Machine Smith, Blackheath, MODOK, all of those are getting super cheap because people are wanting to get rid of them. Atlas might be a good thing to sell because I don't know if you'll ever see them. I mean, really the only ones that are still pushing value is the Prime, Captain Marvel, and Hulk. Those are the only ones still holding their value. So if you have a bunch, now's the time to sell them because, well, 2 weeks ago was the time to sell them. Now is the time to just dump them for what you can get for them.
Yeah.
But along with what Sam was saying, I mean, Hellfire Club is getting very popular. So now is the time to sell your Jason and your Phoenixes or your Jean Greys if you're not going to play them. And then just buy them back in a year or two when they're cheaper.
Yeah. I just think that Jean's so hard to come by right now because she's good for Hellfire, but she's also phenomenal for the call-in. Off the ID card. I mean, she's that threat of like, okay, well, I can call in and mind control.
Yep.
You know,
if you've got the figures to do it, she's definitely good.
If you've got the setup, then she's that threat. So
you just gotta be very mindful of how you use her because she can also backfire greatly.
Yeah. Hold. What are you holding?
Shoot, what was the one I just said I was gonna hold and I couldn't remember? Was it Hulk?
Yeah, you said Hulk. I think a good figure that I'm gonna be holding, you know, and if you have this, is the Chase Thor.
Yeah.
from the new set, the Cap set. I think he's very, very playable with a Vulture team.
I think he's playable. He's playable in a lot of different scenarios.
And I think after rotation, he's gonna be up there with Cap Marvel. I think you're gonna see more of him. So he's kind of a hold for me. I think
That's fair.
He's cheap enough now that I think if you don't have him, kind of get him, hold on to him, because I could see him saying in the fall we're gonna be like, man, freaking Thor came out of nowhere. Like we're gonna be like, well, we kind of predicted it a little bit, but I think he's good enough after rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So.
All right, I think that's good for buy, sell, hold.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and get into our final thoughts?
Click 4. Final thoughts.
All right, Sam, we're here in our final thoughts. What is a final thought you want to leave everybody with this episode of Sudden Death?
Just prepare for Vulture. He's coming. Like I see more and more people trying to play him, and these WKOs coming up and just play testing him because he's gross. But
yep. And he's cheap.
He's cheap, and the whole team's pretty cheap.
Yeah, there's nothing expensive on that team.
So in the right hands, it's going to be disgusting. So I say prepare for the Vulture, prepare for the Flappy Bird.
Yep. My final thought is definitely have good luck for everybody going into WKOs. Definitely keep an eye out on our ClickStuff page for seeing who wins, who loses, what teams they're playing. Well, maybe people won't put who loses, but you'll see a lot of top 8s on there. If you're at an event and someone wins, post those up. Get some snaps of those build sheets. I thrive on data, so give me data and I shall analyze it. So yeah, just keep an eye out on ClickStuff pages. We may have some announcements coming down the road. We're working on some maybe another show to potentially do a casual type show. So we're working on that and a few other little endeavors that'll be fun down the road. So stay tuned to the ClickStuff Facebook page.
Stay tuned. Dun dun dun.
All right then. Well, on that note, that'll do it for this episode of Sudden Death. May all your cat boosters still have Ultrons on them, and may your sealed WKOs be amazing. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.